So we have done job order costing. We learned how to accumulate costs over different jobs. We learned how to accumulate cost through different processes in our production system. Then we learned how to accumulate cost over the life of the product. Now we will learn how do we accumulate cost based upon different activities that are involved in the production process. So let's go straight to the slide containing activity-based costing. Now this is the most complex. Of course, process costing was difficult, but this has its own level of difficulty. So it's basically refinement of your existing job order and process costing, where we go in a finer detail to trace cost to the end products. Traditionally, what we have done, let me show you what we have done traditionally. This is the traditional peanut butter approach. Let me tell you what we have been doing so far. In the traditional costing system, what we do, we simply dump all our indirect costs, because I told you the direct material and direct labor is easily traceable. It's easily identifiable in the end products, right? The problem is with the manufacturing overhead, which we call the indirect cost. And we know they are of two types, fixed and variable. And what are these manufacturing overheads? Indirect material, indirect labor, electricity, gas, water, taxes, insurance, depreciation, so on and so forth. So what we do, we simply add them up, whether actual or an estimated basis. Let's say we have an estimate of these overheads given above in the rectangles. Let's say it's about $180,000. And we estimate that we produce different types of product A, B, C, D, E, F, and we are going to produce 10,000 units in the coming year. Different types of products, and total 10,000 units would be produced. Now if you calculate, it comes out to be $18 per unit. So this is the total estimated overheads, and we are dividing this total estimated overhead with the number of units we want to produce. And remember, we produce variety of products, product A, product B, product C, D, E, F, and so on. Now look at this ridiculous approach. We are charging same $18 on all the products we produce. We produce variety of products, but every item is taking the same overheads. This is inappropriate. This is called peanut butter approach, that you have just a slice and you just lump some peanut butter on it and then you just go on as if everything is the same. But in fact, it is not. Some items are complex to make. Some are very simple. How can you charge $18 on every item you produce? This would result in a very serious problem for us. This is called product cross subsidization, cost cross subsidization. Some items will cost more, some items will cost less. Item A, which is not a very expensive item to make, but unfortunately because of this miscosting, it is costing more. Item B, which is complex to make and it should cost more, it is costing less. So the other point I want to make is that the items that should cost less, unfortunately carry more cost. And items that should cost more carry less cost. This miscosting is what you call the product cost cross subsidization. This is wrong. We want to avoid this peanut butter approach, gada ghoda same rate. This is not. Some items are complex, they should carry more overheads. Some items are simple, they should carry less. So this is the problem with the traditional system. This is exactly what we want to overcome. We don't want this product cost cross subsidization. This is miscosting basically. Some items are costed more, some items are costed less. This is something we want to avoid. Right, so this is the traditional system. All is written here, what I've just explained, that we dump your overheads in a single pool and then we calculate a single rate and we charge same rate on all the items we produce. This is not right, because if you inappropriately cost your products, you will set inappropriate pricing for your products, and eventually this will result in overall loss for the firm, because when you do not know the right cost, how could you set the right pricing for it? So this is what we have done so far. This is the traditional system. We simply create a general ledger account of different overheads accounts I've discussed a little while ago. Your electricity, gas, water, indirect material, indirect labor, insurance, depreciation, all that. And we simply create a single rate and we allocate a single rate on all these items. This is not correct. We have an alternative system, a much complicated but very good system for costing. This is called activity-based costing. Under activity-based costing systems, we do something like this. We divide this cost pool into different activity cost pools. Instead of just having a single, I took an example, like this is the cost pool having a size of $180,000 and we are planning to produce 10,000 different types of units. So every item takes $18. This is not the right approach. What we do, we divide this jumbo cost pool into a separate cost pool of product design, production setup, machining, inspection and testing, and so on and so forth. Then every item that is produced, if it is complex to make, it will take more designing cost, it will take more setup cost or machining cost, hence it will cost more. An item that is simple to make, it will take less effort in designing, less machining hours, less inspection testing, so it will cost less. This is a much more approach. Rather than using a single rate, we will have multiple rates, and this will help us cost our products in a much finer way, much more accurately. So that's what we do. Let us discuss this in detail. So what we do in activity-based cost system, we identify different activities that go into production process, that constitute our overheads. What are the activities? Rather than indirect material, indirect labor, factory operating cost or depreciation, we identify what are the different activities that make up our overheads. Then we assign cost to the resources. I will explain. Let me explain to you with the help of a complete blueprint of activity-based costing. There are two steps of allocation. Let me explain this through this, and then we'll come back. This is it. This is activity-based costing system. If you can understand this, you will get the basic essence of ABC. In activity-based costing, there are two-stage allocations. In the first stage, we identify the different resources we have in our organization. We have computer processing, it's a resource. We have production line where production process takes place. This is a resource. We have materials management activity. This is a resource. Accounting, sales and marketing, electricity, gas and water. So we have different resources in our organization that we use in our production process. Then for every resource, there will be a resource driver. I hope you remember from your earlier studies, the cost driver. So here we have resource driver that drives the resource up, that drives the consumption of resource, like CPU cycles. That's the CPU clock speed, the CPU usage, in other words. Production line, it is driven by this resource is consumed by machine hours. Materials management, it is consumed by working hours worked. Accounting work, again, it is based upon the hours worked. Sales and marketing, number of orders. Utilities, electricity, gas, water, it is based upon square footage. So in first stage allocation, we identify different resources and we identify different drivers for these resources, and then we establish our activity pools, and these activity pools, cost pools, are the activities that are directly linked to production. Now you can see product design clearly is a production related cost. Production, machining, inspection and testing, customer maintenance. Now there is a very fine point to remember that under ABC system, some costs which we do not consider as a part of product cost, like accounting cost, is never made a part of product cost in any system. Customer maintenance cost is absolutely nothing related to the product cost. But under ABC, many costs which we sales and marketing, it is never a production cost, but ABC might treat them as a part of product cost because somehow they are involved in different resource consumptions. This is something that is trouble with ABC, because your activity-based costing may not be fully compatible with your traditional costing that is acceptable under the US GAAP. So in the first stage allocation, you identify different resources, you identify resource drivers. Through these resource drivers, we transfer the resource cost to the activity cost pools. Now for each activity cost pool, we will identify the activity drivers. Just like CPU cycles drive the resources, hours worked drives the accounting cost. Similarly, your activity drivers will drive these cost pools, cost and cause and effect. So if you have more number of products, the product design cost will go up, less for less. Production setup, if you set up more and more number of production setup, your production setup cost will go up. Number of units produced, if you produce more number of units, the machining cost would be more. So now in the second stage allocation, we will establish activity cost pools, and through these activity cost pools, we will be able to identify certain rates, and based upon these rates, some item that causes less trouble, less effort, it will cost less, and some products that take more of the designing cost, more of the machining hours or inspection testing, they will carry more costs. So the point here in ABC that items that we produce, simple items taking less efforts of different activities, will be costed less. An item that is complex to make will cost more. Let us do an example which will explain exactly this point that we are talking about. Let's take this example. Let us do this question using both approaches, first with the traditional system and then with the activity-based costing system. Zeta Company is preparing an annual profit plan as a part of its analysis of the profitability of individual products. The controller estimates the amount of overhead that should be allocated to the individual product line from the information given in the next column. We have two types of products, wall mirrors and specialty windows. Just the name suggests wall mirrors appear to be simple product. Specialty windows by name looks complex to make and it should cost more. That's what the common sense says. Now you will see how the traditional system miscost the product. It says we have produced 25 mirrors or wall mirrors, 25 specialty. Material moves per product line. There are 5 moves for wall mirror and 15 moves for specialty window, which means it takes more of the effort. 15 moves, just 5 moves. Direct labor hours, 200 hours for wall and 200 hours for specialty window. Budgeted material handling cost, just a single cost pool, $50,000. Under a costing system, traditional system, that allocates overheads on the basis of direct labor hours, Zeta Company's material handling cost allocated to 1 unit of wall mirror would be. Now under the traditional system, which you call the peanut butter costing, in that system you will see that whether the product is simple to make or hard to make, it will carry the same cost. Let me show you. Let us first calculate the rate, which you call the manufacturing overhead rate, or here it's the material handling rate. Okay, now the total cost is $50,000 handling cost, and it says this cost is allocated based upon the labor hours. How many labor hours are we talking about? There are 25 wall mirrors and it requires 200 labor hours each. There are 25 specialty windows, each requiring 2,500 hours each. So 25 times 200 plus 25 times 200. So total labor hours you require is 10,000. Right? 10,000 labor hours are required. Now these 10,000 labor hours will be the base of the rate. It's going to be $5 per labor hour. Now if I just need to calculate how much material handling cost should go to wall mirror and specialty window, you will say, sir, each labor hour, not the labor hour cost we pay to the labor, this is manufacturing overhead rate, or in other words, material handling cost per labor hour. If this item takes 200 labor hours, 200 times 5, this item should take $1,000 of the material handling cost. This item, specialty window, it takes 200 labor hours. Each labor hour is as priced at the rate of 5. For handling cost, 1,000. This is the peanut butter approach. Just $1,000 on both, but we know for sure that this is a complex product and this is a very simple product. Why should they be charged the same handling cost? This is where the traditional overhead allocation or the traditional costing fails. So we got our answer, it's 1,000, but we still need to find a more equitable way. Now let me show you. Now what we will do here, we will, just a minute, let me take my pointer. Under activity-based costing, material handling cost allocated to 1 unit of wall mirror and specialty. We'll do for both wall mirror and specialty. So we should use a more equitable rate. $50,000 is the material handling cost. This handling cost is not driven by labor hours. The cause is wrong. It is not driven by labor hour. It is not driven by labor hours. Handling cost is driven by the number of moves. Wall mirror requires 5 moves. There are 25 wall mirrors, so it means it will require 25 times 5, 125 moves. And the specialty window, this requires 15 moves per window, and there are total going to be 25 times 15. So this item total will require 375 moves. Now you can see that total moves required by wall mirror 125, total moves required by specialty 375. Now if you calculate the combined moves, show me your moves baby, that's the kind of move. 500 moves in total. So 50,000 divided by 500 is going to be $100 per move. Right? Now try to allocate the cost. Each wall mirror takes 5 moves. So 5 moves and each move costs 100. So this should carry $500 of handling cost. To the contrary, specialty window takes 15 moves. Each move costs 100. So it will take 1500. This is much more meaningful, much more convincing. The item that takes more khechal, more effort to make should be charged more cost. An item that takes less effort should be costed. This is the magic of activity-based costing. This is accurate costing. The item that should cost more does cost more under ABC. An item that costs less will cost less. So under activity-based costing, material handling cost to 1 unit of wall mirror is going to be 5 times 100 is 500. 500. See, the item that should cost less is costing us less under the activity-based costing. So that's the benefit of ABC. It helps us in more accurate costing. Let's go back and see how basically it works. We just got a basic understanding. So what we have done so far, we have seen that ABC is more suitable. It divides your cost pool into different sub-cost pools, and then through these cost pools we transfer the cost to your end products in a much more accurate way. So let us see how activity-based system is developed. This is important. Please pay full attention. Under activity-based costing, we first identify activities that constitute overhead. What are the activities? What are the different domains in our production system that actually cost the cause? What the main causes of costs? Yes, moves, material, machining hours, labor hours, different activities, drill press activity, cutting, stitching, finishing. We have different activities, and we will identify what are those activities that constitute overheads. Then we will establish different resources. We just discussed a little while ago. Each resource will have a resource driver, and then from resources we will transfer the resources cost to activity cost pool, and from there we will transfer to the final product. I'll explain. So there are 3 steps. First is the activity analysis. Second is just we saw a little while ago, assign resource cost to activities, and then from activity cost pool to the end products. So let us first discuss the first step, activity analysis. What do we mean by the term activity? When we say activity, activity means a set of work actions. A set of work actions could be material handling is activity, production scheduling is activity, machining activity, cutting, stitching. So we need to identify the activities undertaken within the organization, and then we will have to establish cost pool for each activity. That's the first step. Then there are 4 types of activities we'll discuss in detail. Activities are classified in a hierarchy. There are 4 types of activities. First are called the unit level activities. Be very careful while I'm discussing these. It's a very fine point. Unit level activities are those activities which are performed on each single unit. If you can trace any activity that is performed directly on this bottle of wine, what we can trace directly is basically direct labor and direct material. So activities performed on a single product can be identified for a single product. These are called the unit level activities. Then the second is called the batch level activity. Activities performed on group of products like this. This is a group of each group. So what kind of cost would there be in batch level activities? Material ordering, it's for all, not for a single bottle. Material handling for all items in the group, not for a single bottle. And production line setup. So unit level activity are very easy to trace in the end product. Batch level activities are incurred on groups of products. Then moving one step away, we have product sustaining. As you can see, these 2 guys are in the laboratory and they are testing the quality of wine. So the costs that are being incurred here, like product design, engineering changes, testing, etc. These costs are not for a single bottle, are not for a single group of bottles, but it's for a particular product. Many groups will be under there, right? So it support the production of particular product. All the cost related to that product design, engineering changes, testing, these are the costs what you call the product sustaining costs, sometimes also called the service sustaining activities, right? So be very clear on this. Unit level activities are very close to the end product. Batch level are incurred on the groups. Product sustaining are incurred for a particular product, and there could be many groups under it. And then finally, the last one is quite difficult to trace in the end product, called the facility sustaining. They cannot be traced to the end product at any point in time. So what kind of costs are they which are very hard to trace? Trace accounting in your end product. Try to trace your accounting department cost in a bottle of wine. Very hard. Try to trace your human resources cost in a bottle of wine. Almost impossible. Maintenance of physical plant, safety and security. So these are the costs which are much farther away from the product and very hard or almost impossible to trace in the end product. But still we'll find some way. So the point here to learn is that these four types of unit level activities. Unit level are closest to the product. Batch level are on groups. Product sustaining are incurred on many groups of the products. And the facility sustaining, they are far away from a single unit of product. So these are the four types of activities which you must identify. Once it is identified, that's the first step, activity analysis. The next step is to see these are the different activities. Product design, and let us move on and explain further. Next, we assign resource cost to activities. Resource cost, this is also called the first stage allocation. We discussed in that blueprint. So once the activities are designated, unit level, then at the batch level, and then the product sustaining and the facility sustaining, the next step is to assign the resources to these activities. And I told you, it's not a simple matter. It is not something that can easily be done, because you have to trace your material management costs, even your accounting costs, sales and distribution costs to the end product. And we know for sure that sales and distribution is not a part of product cost. GAAP will not allow you. IFRS doesn't allow this. So gentlemen, you may have to have a separate accounting system to trace costs, because our conventional system is based upon the US GAAP and IFRS, but you may need a separate parallel accounting system that tracks resources to the general ledger. This could be quite complex, costly, and time consuming, but many firms are doing it successfully. I will also explain how we can do it. We can apply ABC, but still do not violate IFRS and US GAAP. I'll explain just in a little while. Okay. So as we discussed, these are the resources, and we identify different resource drivers that drive the resources up. And then once it is done, in the final step, we establish activity cost pools, and through these cost pools, we will transfer the cost to the end products. Now let me take you to a very extended example. This will explain the idea what we have done so far. Now take this. This is a very good question. First, we will do this question in a conventional system, and then we will go with the ABC. It will be a time-consuming question. Will take maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but this question is a masterpiece. It will explain the idea. I've just told you, if you go for complete ABC, complete ABC, 100% ABC, you will end up transferring some of your sales and marketing costs in your end product. This should not happen. You end up transferring some of your accounting costs in the end product. This shouldn't happen. This is not permitted under the IFRS. This is 100% ABC in its true spirit, in its true sense. That first you identify resources, then you identify resource drivers. Through these you establish cost pools. I'll let you know how they are established. And then through these cost pools we identify some rates through activity drivers and transfer the cost to the end products. I'll explain. Now we can make this model work to become compatible with IFRS and US GAAP. Do not include accounting. do not include sales and marketing. Just go to your factory and see what do we do in factory. We have material handling in factory, yes. Setup cost in factory, yes. Machining cost in factory, yes. Quality control in factory, yes. Just apply ABC on this bloody cost and you will end up with a system that is compatible with IFRS and US GAAP. You have not brought anything, any cost that is not production related. No sales and marketing, no accounting cost, no management cost, no distribution cost, just those costs that should be made a part of product. So if you, in other words, what I want to say, if you just apply ABC in the factory and costs are transferred to product only based upon the cost incurred in the factory, you are perfectly fine. ABC now is compatible with IFRS and the US GAAP. The problem comes when in the resource allocation you bring these costs which should not be a part of product. That's the problem. This is where there will be a violation. Then you may have to have two systems running parallel. So here is a classic example. We will do this question under traditional system and under the under the ABC system. You will see that how the cost will vary. And in this question, all these costs are related to production, so they should become part of product. So it's perfectly acceptable for ABC, for IFRS and US GAAP as well. So let us do it. Believing that its traditional costing system may be providing misleading information. Traditional system, the peanut butter approach, single rate for every product. Farragut Manufacturing is considering an activity-based costing approach. It now employs a full cost system and has been applying its manufacturing overhead based on the machine hour. This is the previous system, traditional system. Overhead is applied based on the machine hour, not on the activities driver. Farragut plans on using 50,000 direct labor hours and 30,000 machine hours in the coming year. Remember, manufacturing overhead is applied on machine hour basis. The following data have show the following overheads that is budgeted. We have material handling estimated cost, setup cost, machining cost, and quality control. 1.8 million is the estimated overhead for the coming period. Cost, sales, and production data for one of Farragut's products for the coming year is given as follows. Direct material 4.4, labor 0.75. We are never bothered about material and labor. They are directly traceable. The problem comes when we have to transfer this indirect cost to the end product. Using the traditional system, what we do under the traditional system, we establish a single rate by just taking the single amount, 1.8 million, and divide it with the estimated activity. I hope you remember, manufacturing overhead is calculated by dividing the estimated manufacturing overhead with the activity. Our activity is based upon machine hours and we are anticipating 30,000 machine hours. So the rate I'm going to calculate is 1.8 million is the estimated manufacturing overhead and 30,000 is the estimated machine hour usage. So 1.8 million divided by 30,000. This is the rate, $60 per machine hour. Now this rate will be applied on the product. This is called the peanut butter approach. I didn't care for the detailed cost allocation, simply a single rate, and I'm going to apply this on the end product. So the question says, let me drag it down. It says if Farragut uses the traditional full costing system, the cost per unit for this product for the coming year would be. Now, we know there are three costs of production related items: direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. I'm not going for the detailed breakup of fixed and variable, just manufacturing overhead. Direct material, direct labor are never a problem, 4.4 and 0.75. Now here we will have $60 per machine hour. An item that takes one machine hour should be charged $60 manufacturing overhead. Let us first see how much time does a single item takes. Look at this. It says expected sale 20,000, batch size 5,000, 2 setups are 2 per batch, each batch requires 2 setups, total parts per finished product 5. This is what we are interested in. 80 machine hour per batch. 80 machine hour per batch. I don't need on per batch, I need on per unit basis. So if there are 80 machine hours per batch, how many units are there in one batch? 5,000. So if you divide 80 with 5,000, 80 divided by 5,000, this will give me the time taken by single unit, 0.016 machine hour. It means this is the time taken by a single unit. This is the time taken. What did I do? 80 machine hours are used for 5,000 units. That's the number of units in each batch. 80 by 5,000, 0.016. This is the time consumed by single unit, and our application rate, overhead application rate is 60. So $60 per machine hour, but this item took only 0.016 hour. Multiply this with 60, it will give you 0.96. See, 0.96 plus 4.4 plus 0.75. Simple. You complete your product costing, Shamsu, you go home. Simple. 6.11, khalas, finish. But this is not an accurate costing. This is not accurate costing. We got our answer 6.11, but this is peanut butter approach. We found out a single rate and we just applied it on the product. We didn't see that there are 4 different types of activities. Now let us do this using ABC. Now, there are 4 different types of activities: material handling, setup cost, machining cost, quality cost. Now come back to what I want to tell you. We have these 4 cost pools, 5 cost pools. Let's say take 4. We will transfer this 1.8 million, some here, some here, some here, some here, and we will calculate. These are the cost pools. Remember, gentlemen, it's a very, very fine question. So I have divided this jumbo cost pool of 1.8 million into these 4 separate cost pools. Each cost pool, each activity cost pool will have a driver. For example, here the material handling cost pool, all the costs related to material handling, it's going to be 720,000 budgeted cost. This cost pool is driven by number of parts handled. If a product has more parts, there will be more handling costs. If a product has less parts, it will have less handling cost. Similarly, the other cost pool we have is the setup cost. It includes all the costs related to setting up your machinery. So it's estimated to be 315. How many setups are expected? 750. So this cost pool, setup cost pool, is driven by the number of setups. We identified another cost pool, machining cost pool, 540. It is driven by machine hours. Quality control cost pool, 225. It is driven by 5. Yes, it is complex. ABC is complex, make no mistake. But it results in a much more effective cost control and much more effective costing. It's complex. We will now have to establish these cost pools, identify the suitable drivers, establish a rate, and using that rate to value the product. Let us do it now in detail. So it's going to be a little time consuming, but it should explain the idea fully. Now we have to do this question. If the company employs an activity-based costing system, the cost per unit for the product described for the coming year would be. Now, we know our cost is made up of 3 things: direct material, direct labor, but this time your manufacturing overhead comes in 4 different forms. First, material handling. Second, setup cost. Third, machine cost, MC. And last, quality control. See, these are 4 different cost pools, and the cost will move from these cost pools into the product. So direct material, direct labor would never be an issue. Direct material 4.4, direct labor 0.75. Now here is the problem. Let us first see what we are going to do with the machine hour. Material handling, sorry, not machine, material handling. Okay, now look at this. Material handling has an estimated size of $720,000. All right. This cost pool is driven by number of parts handled. How many parts are we expecting to handle? We are expecting 6 million parts, which means our handling cost per part, 720,000 divided by 6 million. It is perfect. $0.12 per part. Now this makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. An item that has more parts should be charged with more material handling cost. Look at this. It says the total parts per finished unit is 5. Each item we are discussing right now has 5 parts. If it has 5 parts, the handling cost will be 5 multiplied by 1.12. So that makes perfect sense. The item that has more parts to it, 100 parts, it will be multiplied 100 with 0.12. See, it makes perfect sense. The The item that has more parts should be charged with more material handling cost. So this item we are discussing, it has just 5 parts and each part cost 0.12, so it will give us 0.6. Makes perfect sense. Okay. Next we have the setup cost. Setup cost estimated is $315,000. And we should take how many setups? There are 750 setups expected. All right. So 315,000 divided by 750, it means it takes us $420 for each setup. I can't put $420 here. I need to find it on per unit basis because this is the unit cost. So I need to see that if this $420 is the cost for one setup. Setup means that when you recalibrate your machinery for certain item that you produce. A, B, C. So whenever you move your production from one item to another, you have to reset your machinery. So it takes $420 to recalibrate and reset your machinery. Now let's see if it costs $420 for each setup. Let us see how many units are there in setup. Look at this. Our batch size is 5,000 and we have to make 2 setups per batch. Can anyone tell me by just looking at these numbers, how many units are there in each setup? How many units are there in each setup? Please use your common sense and tell me. Batch size is 5,000 and for these 5,000 you have to set up you have to make 2 setups. Then how many units are there in each setup? Gentlemen, I need your answer, please. No, Noman. Imran, just think a little. Think more closely. Afzal is absolutely right. Imran, see, 5,000 units are in one batch, right? And for one batch, you have to make 2 setups. And each setup must be for 2,500 units. Which means, if $420 is the setup cost on 2,500 units, so it's going to be, I'm just going to write it here, 420, just a single number, 0.168. Right? So absolutely, Imran got it right. 5,000. So it means there are 2,500 units in each setup and setup cost is 0.168. Next is now the machining cost. Okay. Machining cost is 540. And this $540,000 machining cost is driven by machine hours. How many machine hours are we planning for this for the coming year? 30,000. So this will give us 540,000 divided by 30,000. It's $18. It is $18 per machine hour. It's on per machine hour. We are doing it on a per unit basis. We just established a little while ago that 80 machine hours are required for 5,000 units, which means each item requires 0.016 machine hour. It's a complex question. If you ask me, sir, can we expect a question like this on exam? Absolutely not. This is not an exam question. If a question like this comes, you have my authority to throw the system away from Prometric Testing Center. This is not a question you can do in 3 to 4 minutes. It's a complex question. It's just for the sake of understanding how the whole ABC works. So 80 machine hours based upon 5,000 units. Salman, this is too complex for a MCQ on the real exam. See, it's taking too much time to solve. No, I'm not sure about the computer, but the question I'm sure is not the one that you should expect on the real exam. It's complex, too time consuming. So basically it's an assay type question. It's an assay type question. 0.016 machine hour is required by each unit. We just established that 540,000 machining cost is required for 30,000 machine hour. So rate is 18 per machine hour. We need to find it on per unit basis. So each unit takes 0.016. So it's going to be $18 multiplied by 0.016, right? So $18 multiplied, this will give you 0.288. Yes, absolutely. It's good for practice. Now the last cost is the quality control cost. Quality control cost is 225 and it's based upon 500 batches. Remember, you need to have the activity cost pool size and the overall activity required. We need 500 batches and the cost quality control is 225,000 divided by 500. It is $450 per batch. It is $450 per batch. Remember, number of batches 500, total estimated cost 225. Upon 500, it's $450 per batch. We don't need it on per batch, we need it per unit basis. Now, how many units are there in each batch? There are 5,000 units, so you're going to divide 450 with 5,000 and you plug in your number here. So 450 divided by 5,000, that's 0.09. So this is your quality control cost, 0.09. Add all this up and you should get your full cost of production, which is very accurate, 4.4 plus 0.75 plus 0.6 plus 0.168 plus 0.288 and plus 0.09. This gives you 6.296, which I believe is approximately equal to 6.30, and that is your answer. So just imagine, Afzal, there are just 4 cost pools and the life looks miserable. Imagine if there are 30 plus cost pools, you will kill yourself when such a complex costing system is in place and you may have to manage all these cost pools at a time. So this is the reason why ABC is complex, because it involves detailed establishment of different activity cost pools, identification of activity level, and then establishing rate. So, but this is a very accurate costing system, no doubt about that. And here we go. If you just see this, the answer here is 6.30 D, right? So this question is good for understanding purpose. It basically is an essay type question because there are 2 questions related to the same information, the previous one and current one. So that explains the idea. Let us apply another question here, the concept of activity-based costing. Yes, Gauss, you will be given the rates and the basics, because such a complex question is very hard to come by on your exam. Really, you're right. Okay, guys, this is a good question here again. Pelder Products Company manufactures 2 types of engineering diagnostics equipment used in construction. The 2 products are based on different technologies, X-ray and ultrasound, but are manufactured in the same factory. Pelder has computed the manufacturing cost of the X-rays and ultrasound products by adding together direct material and direct labor and overhead cost applied based on the number of direct labor hours. Direct material, direct labor is never a problem. Here it says that the overhead is applied based on the direct labor hours. This means he's using absorption costing. Yes, Afzal, this is the question for you, dedicated to you. The factory has 3 overhead departments that support the single production line that makes both products. These are the 3 departments: engineering design, material handling, and setup. So you can see these are the departments or the activities, and costs have already been accumulated based upon the activity. Next step we need to do is to calculate the rate and then use that rate to cost our products. That's what we're going to do. So the factory has 3 overhead departments that support the single production department. Budgeted overhead spending for these departments or activities given. 6,000 is estimated engineering design, material handling, setup cost. It further says, Pelder budgeted manufacturing activities and cost for the period are as follows. X-ray, ultrasound, 50 X-rays are planned, produced and sold, 100 ultrasounds, direct material used for both, direct labor hours used, labor cost used, number of parts used, number of engineering changes, and number of product setups. We need to calculate the cost to manufacture one ultrasound machine using the activity-based costing. We will do both for better understanding. So what we are going to do, we are going to make 2 columns. Gentlemen, I'm deliberately spending more time on this question to explain the basic essence of ABC. So it will take time, but let's just focus on it. I told you direct material and direct labor would never be an issue. For X-rays, direct material is 5,000 and direct labor is 4,000. For ultrasound, direct material is 8,000 and the direct labor is 12,000. So it's never an issue. It's a prime cost. Issue comes when we have the manufacturing overheads, which are hard. In this case, we have 3 different. First, ED, I'm going to write it as engineering design. Then we have material handling, I'm going to write it as MH. And then we have setup cost, SC. Now, previously we were given the rate, we were given the details, we knew what basis to use, but here we will have to establish ourselves. Now look at this. The size of our engineering design is $6,000. The cost pool has $6,000 size. We need to establish the level of activity. Look at this. There are 3 possible options: number of parts, number of engineering changes, and number of setups. There is no doubt, clearly correlates, engineering design is driven by the number of engineering changes. So we are expecting 2 changes for X-rays and 1 for ultrasound. So total 3 changes. So it's going to be 6,000 upon 3. So it means $2,000 per change. Now look at this. We established a rate of $2,000 per change. How many changes are we expecting for X-rays? 2. What is the rate per change? 2,000. So 2,000 times 2, it is going to be 4,000. How many changes are we expecting for ultrasound? 1. Rate is 2,000 per change, so it's going to be just 2,000. See, so we have shifted this cost based upon the activity, not on any simplistic labor hour or machine hour. Next, we have the material handling. This is the $5,000 size, and how many parts we had to handle? There were total 400 parts for X-rays and 600 parts for ultrasound. Total 1,000 parts, which means the rate comes out to be $5 per part. $5 per part. So if there are 400 parts for X-rays and the rate is $500 per part handling cost, 5 times 400, so that makes $2,000 cost to be charged to X-rays, and 600 times 5, it will give you 3,000. The last, setup cost has a size of $3,000, and how many setups are we expecting? 8 plus 7. So there are total 15 setups, which means 3,000 divided by 15, it's $200 per setup, right? $200 per setup. So $200 setup is the rate now, the rate per activity unit. So 200 multiplied by 8, 200 multiplied by 8 means that 1600 will go to this, and then remaining 7 multiplied by 200, 1400. See, now we can total both 5,000, 4,000, 4,000, 2,000 and 1,600. The total cost for producing X-rays is 16,600. For ultrasound, it's 8,000 plus 12,000 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1,400. It is 26,400. 26,400. Now the next step, what the question says, you need to find the unit rate. So you're going to divide this total cost of ultrasound with the number of units produced, 26,400 divided by 100. This gives you 264. So this is the total cost of producing 1 unit of ultrasound under the ABC, that is 264. Right, so that's the idea of activity-based costing. What we do, yes, so what we do basically, we divide this jumbo cost pool into different activity cost pools, and then through these activity cost pools we establish rates, and through these rates we transfer the cost to the end unit. So I told you, if you go for the complete ABC, 100% ABC in its true essence, that will transfer, G. Afzal, welcome, that will transfer many of the non-production related costs to the end units, and this could be a violation of IFRS and US GAAP. You can apply the same methodology, but only use the cost related to production. This way your ABC will be IFRS and US GAAP compliant. Okay. So that's the logic behind the ABC costing. Let us discuss some other important features of activity-based costing, some important points that you need to remember. ABC system, I told you, it starts from activities, from different processes that go into end products. So it starts from the process value analysis. What is a process value analysis? It's a comprehensive understanding of how the organization generates its output. There are two types of processes. One is the value adding process, other is the non-value adding. This is important, you need to distinguish between them. Process value analysis will determine two types of processes, value adding and non-value adding. What's the difference? Value adding process is something that adds customer utility in your product. It increases customer satisfaction. Value adding activities contribute to customer satisfaction. It will increase the product quality, quantity, responsiveness. If you try to reduce this cost, your customers might become unhappy. It could be product design, product durability. It has all the future. Many banks are using, remember, ABC is not for manufacturing companies. Many banks are using ABC. Insurance companies are using ABC. Activity-based costing has a lot of future. It's complex, but it's very helpful in identifying actual activities, and it helps in accurate costing. I'll explain these points later. So value-adding activities are those activities that contribute to customer satisfaction. But non-value-adding activities, customer doesn't care about these. Non-value adding activities, they do not add any value. They do not add any contribution to customer satisfaction. So ideally, you should eliminate such costs. Warehousing is a non-value adding activity. Material handling is a non-value adding activity. Customer doesn't care about handling. He doesn't care about storage. He doesn't care about production scheduling. He doesn't care about production setup. He is not concerned. What he's concerned with is the quality, durability, reliability of the product, design of the product. So we should ideally eliminate these non-value adding costs or reduce them or redesign our production process so that we can lower our production cost to an acceptable level. Right? So ABC, no doubt, will help you reduce cost through this. ABC is not just a cost accumulation system. It will also help you identify non-value adding activities and eliminate your cost or at least reduce your cost. So there are some advantages to ABC, of course. I told you ABC results in much more improved costing, better costing, more accurate costing. It will help you make better decisions. It will help you eliminate those costs that do not add value. More accurate cost assignments, better cost control. You will identify which activities are value adding, which are not. More efficient operations, operations that are not necessary, that are non-value adding, close them. Right? But there are disadvantages also. I told you it is very expensive to set up ABC. You need to maintain a separate accounting system to capture ABC related cost. If you want to implement ABC in its true spirit, where you identify resources, resource drivers, activity cost pools and activity drivers, where you end up transferring your accounting and sale and marketing cost in your end product, then it's a separate system. IFRS will not allow you. So in such a system, there will be two systems running parallel, one for ABC, other for your conventional IFRS US GAAP based financial reporting. You need to design and implement drivers and cost pools, which is time consuming. And when you start producing new products, you may have to establish new cost pools. Previous cost pools may have to be eliminated. And most importantly, true 100% ABC may not conform with GAAP. It is not acceptable under the US GAAP. That's very important. So I told you a solution also, that if you want to apply ABC and still being in compliance with the IFRS and US GAAP, just apply ABC in production systems only. The factory related cost could be transferred to the end products. Do not bring your selling cost, marketing cost, accounting cost. This should not become a part of your production system. Computer costs, IT costs, that should not be a part of your product. Only those costs that are within the boundary of your production system, your factory premises. Okay, so we discussed this earlier also, that the drivers that you select for your activities, they should have a cause and effect. Like material handling cost pool, it is driven by number of parts. Setup cost pool, it is driven by number of setups. So when you establish drivers, there must be a cause and effect relationship between the pool and the driver, not just positive correlationship, right? That's an important point. What is cost object? We know cost object is any job, product, process, activity, service with reference to which we are trying to measure cost. One very important point you must remember, that ABC is useful for those organizations that produce a variety of products. Variety of products. If a company produces a single product, there is no point in using ABC. ABC is suitable when overheads are relatively high, fixed cost of production are much more, process is automated, and company produces a diverse type of production line. But if the company is using a single product, then there is no point in using ABC. When products and services are absolutely uniform, a single product or similar products are produced, then there is no point in using ABC. ABC is suitable when the production system is complex, fixed overhead are relatively high, diversity of production. ABC is perfectly fine, but a single product or uniform production process, under such circumstances, ABC is not recommended. Now you can come up with the overall conclusion of what we have done so far. Job order costing is suitable when specialized costing is to be done based upon the customer driven orders. Process costing is suitable for such an organization that produces mass quantity of production, standardized production for everyone. Life cycle costing is a cost accumulation system when we calculate the cost of the entire production from start till the end. And the activity based costing is suitable for those organizations that have higher manufacturing overheads, fixed cost. They produce diverse products and the production process is complex. That's where ABCs are recommended. So we have done ABC at least to some extent. I thought we could do more questions, so we will touch few more questions to explain ABC further. Tomorrow we will be starting next unit, and we will be doing 4 to 5 some good quality MCQs on ABC, so that the ideas and the understanding could further be enhanced, guys. So that's all. See you guys tomorrow with the next unit and some questions on ABC.